Hello, awesome people. I hope your day's going well. Today we're taking a look at Shirley Jackson's short story, The Possibility of Evil. We're going to be doing a deep dive into Shirley Jackson. I picked up this collection published by Penguin Classics in 2017 called Dark Tales a couple of months ago with the intention of doing a deeper dive into Shirley Jackson. She's obviously one of the best known horror writers of all time, so I wanted to do a deeper dive, if you will, into this collection for you. Now, the first short story is about 11 pages long. It took me about a little bit less than 20 minutes for me to knock it out a couple days ago for the first time. The only two things that I've actually read by Shirley Jackson was a novel called The Haunting of Hill House, which I read for this channel when I was away on vacation for a spring break a couple of years ago, and then The Lottery when I was in school, which I've actually never gone back and reread, but I always thought was a very nice, well-done short story. I'm now two short stories into this collection. The first short story I didn't do a review for initially because it wasn't a horror short story. And then I was like, well, I want to read Shirley Jackson's horror stuff. And it's called Dark Tales, right? It's a collection. Wouldn't you think that a collection of Dark Tales by a horror writer would have horror short stories in it? And then I knocked out the second short story, and I thought the first one was fine, and I thought the second one was awesome. And so I was like, well, let's go ahead and knock out the reviews anyway, because, I've done that with other things. For example, Robert E. Howard is very famous for writing fantasy. He's also done some horror. And then he also has a series of short stories that I reviewed for you from the Solomon Kane collection, and it has a short story in it called The Blue Flame of Vengeance, which has nothing in it that is fantasy-based, even though he's a fantasy-based character, right? I remember there's also a Conan short story that has nothing in it other than just the fact that it's set on fantasy and set in an ancient kingdom, set by with swords and fighting and stuff like that. There's no actual magic or beasts or anything else like that too. But nobody objected when I did reviews for them because they're, by Robert E. Howard, right? Who's one of these famous fantasists. And then I did about 5 or 6 boxing stories by Robert E. Howard too, and did them as part of my regular review schedule. And again, nobody pushed back and said, well, wait, why are you reviewing boxing stories? This channel is supposed to be focused on horror and fantasy and science fiction, the three sort of main genres in speculative fiction. So I didn't do it. So that's why I'm probably going to go ahead and do this, even the short stories that aren't horror in this collection, because they're Shirley Jackson, right? She's one of the big names in horror, right? Stephen King does some things outside of horror, even though he's predominantly known for horror, right? So if I were to do a Stephen King novel that wasn't in the horror genre, but also wasn't science fiction or fantasy, nobody would probably be that upset, because again, that's the three genres that this channel was focusing on and unpack for you. So there you are. So that's the reason why we're going to be doing this short story for you and this collection for you by Penguin Classics. Hopefully, we'll start getting to some horror stuff because, this is Shirley Jackson and it's a collection of her stuff, right? It's a few hundred pages long, right? So anyway, let's take a look then at The Possibility of Evil, which again is only 11 pages long. I'm going to be giving it a 6 out of 10. In this short story, our point of view character, who's the protagonist, is actually more of an antagonist. She's a single woman who lives in this smaller village, and she's pretty antagonistic and seditious behind people's backs in order to, because she believes that the possibility of evil could be out there, and we have to always be sort of vigilant and that sort of a thing. This is definitely more of a psychological piece than it is, an action piece or a think piece or a plot-heavy piece, and it's 11 pages long. Not a whole lot of world building in this. It's more along the lines of things that are happening, the thoughts, those sorts of the letters that she's writing, those sorts of things. So that's sort of where this piece comes from. Now, again, I keep my reviews spoiler-free, so if you're coming in to check it in, then I won't be giving you spoilers. So that way, in case you've never heard of this story by Shirley Jackson, then now you can. Or if you want to pick up this collection, you won't be spoiled with this review. If you are, but I'm only giving this short story a 6 out of 10. It didn't really sit with me. It took a while for me to get into the story, probably about 2 or 3 pages before I really started to get invested in this short story. It didn't grab me. It wasn't particularly interesting. I didn't find the ending to be, that unpredictable. Right, and this can be dark at times, but it's not outside the bounds of sort of reality, right? So there you are. There's the short story, The Possibility of Evil, which the first short story in this collection, which I'm giving a 6 out of 10 to. Have you read this short story? What did you think of it? Did you think it was better or worse than a 6? I would be more than happy to engage with it further in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. If you enjoyed this video, hey, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.